Okay. Good evening, guys. So, as discussed today, we are starting with color theory, one of the most important chapters or one of the most important topics for our NATA 2023 exam or any of the NATA exam until and unless the a paper pattern or the syllabus is changed. The color theory has been one of the most important topics for the past 3 years, as well as this year also. It is going to be one of the most important topics. So, in color theory, first of all, before going in depth with okay, what is color theory and all, let us understand a few aspects of color psychology. Because to understand the color theory and how the theory is being described and how different colors are being described as they are, we need to understand that what is the color psychology and how, because anything, see, in this world, anything that we talk about is derived by human beings. So there is nothing that has been made by some other celestial person or some alien, and we just follow that, right? So whatever we perceive as human beings, we have stated that, or someone us have stated that, and we are following the same. So over here, color theory or color psychology are interrelated topics. Now, color psychology is nothing but when we see a particular color, how does our brain or how does our nerves respond to that? For example, let's assume you are walking, you are going through the road. Okay, you are driving through the highway, and suddenly you see a huge billboard in red color with white on top of it written. First thing, why red and white? So white creates a huge amount of contrast with red, and that will be emphasized. Now, why it is being emphasized? Because suddenly in the middle of that road, when red comes to your eyes, it is getting a lot of attraction towards you, hence being emphasized. And this is like, since it is being emphasized now psychologically, the person who is trying to put a billboard, he is also thinking the same way, that okay, if I drive through that, or a normal person or an average person, when he or she drives through that way, this thing will come to their eyes definitely. So it's the best place of marketing. Similar to any of the things or any of the places we use color. Now coming to what is color, what are the different kinds of color or so, and what are the different category segments under which the color theory thing as a whole is divided. So we have here primary colors. Now what are primary colors? Red, blue, yellow cannot be made from mixing other colors. Secondary colors are obtained via mixing the primary colors together with each other. Orange, purple, green. These are the three colors that can be obtained by mixing two primary colors. Tertiary color, the 6 shades that can be made from mixing the primary and the secondary colors. So one of the primary, other of the secondary, when mixed together, forms the tertiary colors. These are the three division of colors that we have here. Now over here, I must mention one thing which on an average student does a mistake in one of these things, or these when this kind of question comes, that which are of these three options is the primary color. Okay, so for example, there are several options given, out of which I guess you guys have heard about RGB. Anyhow, you guys have heard about RGB color scheme.
Yes, sir.
Sneha, you have heard?
No, sir. RGB.
What is RGB color scheme? Where is it used?
Sir, red, green, blue colors are used in display.
No, RGB is red, green.
Split complementary color scheme?
RGB is what? Where do we use RGB colors? I'm asking that. Where are we using it? Not okay. What is the second split complementary? Complementary. I'm asking nothing about that.
Decorative lights.
No, we use it in our day-to-day lives. Now I'm going to show you that. For that, I will take a second. We will do here a simple experiment. Okay, and this will give you a pretty much good understanding of where we are using this RGB color thing. Okay, so just hold on for a second. Let me get the things ready. Just a second. Okay, so over here, we will see that where are we using this RGB color scheme also. Have you heard about RGB color scheme before and anyhow?
Sir,
Yeah. So where have you heard? Can you remember it? Anyhow.
no, sir.
Fine. Let's see. Okay. So what I will do over here is right now. First of all, yes, you all have seen that the old days. First of all, today we have these LED TVs and all. We have our smartphone and everything. But in old days and all, I'm talking about time period or so, like when there was this box kind of televisions and all available. So what is the difference between that kind of TV and this kind of TV? Any idea?
Display.
No, why that kind of size was there? Why was there that huge kind of size for that particular TV? Yeah, tell. I'm just trying to.
डिस्प्ले डिफरेंट होता था सर पहले और अभी
Huh?
डिस्प्ले
What?
डिफरेंट है
Display has been different, but like no display though is definitely different. But what led to that particular size? What was the reason for that particular size, which used to be there previously? Sneha, you're not telling anything.
Which,
Sneha,
like, you're talking about black and white TV.
I'm not talking about black and white. I'm talking about in general, any TV in general. Previously, the color TVs itself, because black and white you will not be able to get it. What I am trying to talk about here. Nothing. Fine. Let's try to see this first if possible. Then I will tell you where it was used and why it was used or so. Okay. But before that, let me try to get a good picture for this. Sure. See, over here I have tried to wait, let me my camera. Okay, can you see the screen of this phone? Wait, can you see the screen of this phone? Now over here, it's not pretty much visible actually. Wait, let me try to. Okay, can it be seen? Wait, let me stop sharing the screen first, and then spot the screen. Okay, sorry. Let me put this video in spotlight for everyone. Let me see if it's visible. It's not the problem. It's not that much visible, but still, wait. Let me try to get a big droplet of water, so it will do the work. It's more visible on old days. Today's phones and all, it's not that much. That's what I was trying to say. But still, we can understand the difference also. Wait a minute. So over here, uh, we have something. It's very hard to show actually. Just give me a second. Fine, okay. So I will show you guys. Just give me some time because it's like until and unless I get it in a proper format, this will not be there. Okay. So that's the whole point. Wait, let me put the camera in place. So the thing is, first of all, what I was trying to show is that, if you can put a very small water droplet on your phone screen, and it has to be a bit older phone. So I tried to get it on my iPhone, but it's not that pretty much visible. If you have a keypad phone, it will be better. I'm just trying to get that out over here. I've asked someone. So just let's wait for that. By the time, let me tell you so how you can get it or where you can get to see it. Any of the olden devices, it's more prominent. So in olden TVs and all, in today's device, the pixels are much more much more in comparison. So what happens is that in olden devices and all, it's not that pixelated. I hope if you have watched TV at least 10 years back from now, and you would have watched it in that kind of thick, dabba wala TV, you would have seen that the picture quality was not that great, right? So the number of pixels was less, hence, and they used a thing called picture tube. That's the very simple reason why those kind of televisions were bulky and or so. Today's televisions use a LED screen, but this RGB color combination is a combination of color which is used in any sorts of digital devices. Every device has it. So it's like every device which you use in today's time has a combination of RGB color scheme. And it can be seen with a magnifying glass or so. If you can magnify on the particular screen which you are using, you will be able to see. Now in today's phones like this and all, it's very hard to figure that out, but it's possible to see. And it's also the problem is with this particular web camera of it's very hard to show it in a more prominent manner. That is one of the things. Coming to the other factor, it is very easy to see in some olden keypad phones or so, because again the number of pixels over there, the picture quality was not this much. So hence the number, what do you mean by pixels? Pixels is nothing but, let's assume this particular screen where you are seeing me, if there are these kind of horizontal and vertical lines drawn, and there are very small squares which are there, which ultimately form me, or dot kind of things. Okay, so the number of dots which you see over here, if it's less, my picture will be broken. The quality of the picture will not be that great. In the same way, if the number of dots are more, picture quality will be great. Hence that 4K, HD plus and all. Today's we are seeing 4K. In between, someone came with 8K, but that was not visible on any of the devices. So we have these things into play. Okay, just give me a second so that I can show you guys. Just wait a second. I was discussing, I've just tried to show you some example, like some practical examples. If it was possibly visible, then it would have been more better. But I've tried to show you, and that was visible that there are this horizontal and vertical lines which make small square kind of structures. Now, in any of the devices that you still use today, the color combination is something like this. Just the difference is previously it was much more much more in comparison in this kind of phones also, the number of or the gaps between those things were comparatively more. In today's time, it has been comparatively much more less, and hence that you won't be able to see that RGB color combination scheme today. And finally, like the result is today your this pictures and all whatever you see are much more better in comparison with what you have seen previously. That's the whole concept of RGB color scheme. So the mistake, for the from where we came to this whole discussion and all, the mistakes are previously whenever a student is being asked about the primary colors and they are asked to choose the correct option or so, the mistake which they make is that instead of selecting the red, yellow, blue, they will select the RGB. Since you have already heard about it, as you already mentioned. Okay. Let's see. See, over here I have something. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
This is a camera which has been placed in front of a TV, and the super macro view has been taken, which was not possible through my phone. Though it has a super macro, but it was not allowing me to take that. Okay. So this is what we can see if there is a super macro view taken of any particular device or display which is there. The final result which you will be getting is something like this. Okay. Same thing for any device or any particular object also that you see. Now let's go back to our page of discussion where we were. Let me reshare the screen of color theory. So over here we were having primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors. Sorry, we went a bit off discussion to discuss something in detail, and that consumed a bit of time as well. Let's move ahead to understand how are this color used, and now what Sneha you were telling, the different kind of color compositions. Okay, so over here we have okay, let us first discuss the different aspects of color. Then we have monochromatic colors, and what you are telling, complementary, split complementary, all those things are definitely there. But before that, we need to understand that how are these colors being used and some aspects of that color. Now over here we have the color temperature known as warm or cool. So what is warm and what is cool? If I ask you, how are you going to define it? In terms of color, what you can see is that one side has been marked as these are warm colors, other side has been marked as these are cool colors. How are you going to define it? Sneha, are you there? Sneha, Karthik?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
The
quickly.
colors, the warm colors are brighter than the cool color.
The warm colors are brighter than the cool colors, okay?
And the warm colors are like shades of red, and the cool colors are shades of blue, except the green color on the cool color side.
See, the thing is, warm and cool, this is dependent upon, how are you going to define it? It's just dependent upon what is the feel or the thing, kind of sense that you get from these colors, where you use them basically. So let's assume there is a kind of family function going on. Okay, let's assume there is a marriage function going on, a family function wherein at the dining hall everyone is present, near the bride and all there are bright lights and all. What kind of lights do you expect over there? Warm
Bright.
light, warm bright lights also. Now let's assume in that marriage function itself someone has thought about, let's do something crazy, or let's do something exceptional for the youth and arrange a nightclub kind of atmosphere. What kind of colors do you expect over there?
little bit dull colors like
Little bit dark colors, blue and like, dipsy color kind of stuff. Okay, so see, these are all kind of sensations that you get depending upon colors, and hence warm and cool. The kind of sense or feel that you get also have been shown over here with examples. So once you see them visually, you get the feeling or the understanding of which are warm, which are cool. And these are all sorts of colors that we have practically usage as well. That's why I mentioned about that. Now, let's forget about the factor that, okay, if someone comes from that cool to warm in a certain way in that function, what will happen? That is a separate matter. But this is how the sense of the feeling that we get, and hence we get conveyed, like, in our psychological system, we get conveyed a message of, okay, this is warm, this is cool, and this is the sense or feel that I am getting. Hence, I am going to categorize it in this sector. Over here, it's just the opposite. Left side is cool, right side is warm. Okay. Let's move ahead with some great examples of color compositions or so. Now over here, what I discussed in last class was the saturation and value. So intensity of color is saturation, value is brightness, not darkness of color. So what I mentioned, I will repeat that. I guess I have just given you some just about this in last class itself. So what is saturation, students? Now to saturation, we need to understand intensity of the color. For example, I have here a bottle. What is the color of the bottle? Quickly.
yellow.
Yellow. Let's see through this portion. Are you able to see me?
Yes.
Yes. Now, what happens if I increase the intensity to this place? Any guess?
We wouldn't be able to see
Intensity,
you.
then a magic happens, and suddenly in front of your camera comes the increased intensity. So this is what happens when the intensity of the color is increased. You are not able to see anything through it. This is known as opaque. Okay. So the intensity of the constituents of the yellow constituents or like yellow pigment is more over here, hence it's opaque. Over here, see the transition. See like this part of the plastic is hard, right? This part is more hard. Why? Because the number of particles over here is more. The particle itself is yellow. This part, I can press it. Can you see the difference? This part, it's hard to press, but okay, I can press it with some sort of like, those clippers or something like that. This part is comparatively much more harder. So just see the difference in intensity step by step. This is what is intensity of color, that is saturation. Now, what is value or like, brightness or darkness of color? Okay, we can understand that as well. Just there will be, wait, I need to get a paper if possible. Let's see what happens when we increase the value. Okay, don't do this. This is just for demonstration purpose. See, if I put the pen over here, okay, and if I show you side by side these two colors, both are yellowish itself. Both are yellowish. One is, just look at this particular portion, One is a bit more dark, another one is a bit more light. What happens? Impurities are coming inside the color. Okay. There are some sort of impurities that are getting inside that particular color, hence making it look darker or brighter. This is known as the value of the color. For example, am I audible? Okay, so over here, what has happened is that this is the like how my phone looks actually is this. This is the backside portion of one of my phones. Okay. Now, I have used some sort of transparent covers in both my phones. This is one of my other phones, how it looks. Recently, I have changed the cover of that particular iPhone. Both are transparent covers. So this is what we have practically. Now let's assume that, okay, this transparent thing, it's itself a color. With time, impurities are added, and hence this is the result. Okay. So this is what we are talking about value, if we had to talk about this. And if we have to talk about saturation, the best example is over here. Less saturated, more saturated. Clear? Any doubts?
clear.
Fine. Let's move ahead. Okay, now tell me what composition is this? What is the color scheme used over here? Quickly, if you know, if you have any idea about it, tell me.
Monochromatic colors.
Monochromatic color scheme. So what is monochromatic color scheme? I have already told it, given a slight bit of information about it in last class. What do you mean by the word itself tells what is like the meaning of that particular composition? What is monochromatic?
The shades of a single color are used.
Shades of a single color. What do you mean by shades of a single color? I didn't understand.
Shade like the color is used in different value.
Color is used in different value. Is it or something else?
Think so.
Tell if you're confident enough, tell yes. Or if you have something else to tell, you can add on.
No, I think the color is only used in
The color is
value.
used in its different value. Okay. The different at some point also we can tell that saturation of the color is also changed at some point, but we cannot see it over here. Why? Because it is made on a paper. So we cannot define that the color is being less saturated or more saturated. Over here, what is happening? Either we are adding something to it, or we are like keeping it in its for, or we are taking it to its other side, that is like brighter side. So either we are adding white to it to make it more lighter, or we are adding black to it to make it look more darker. So what this is what happens in a single color composition. So over here, how you might ask that, okay, sir, there is a use of black. As soon as you tell this, I will tell you that you have not remembered anything from the previous classes, because what I told is black and white are no colors. Black and white are the just the extreme tint and shade of any color that you can find. Okay, so this is how a monochromatic color composition is achieved. What is this? What kind of color composition is used over here? If that is monochromatic, what is this? This is bichromatic.
Secondary color.
This is secondary color scheme. Okay, something else. What is there in secondary color? Let's go back and check quickly. Purple, orange, green. And what were used over here? Fine, we will find out. Here are some of the other compositions as well, and it goes on, goes on, goes on. But before going into all these things, we will see a different. What is this? Analogous. Okay. Next, if we move on, triadic. Now, if we go back, what is there in triadic? Blue, yellow, red. Are these the combination of the similar kind of colors? Yes. So this is a triadic color scheme that is being used over here. You might not know. This is not natural for you to know out of nowhere. So the I didn't expect you to tell. But this particular composition, why it has been shown over here, is to show a huge sense of vibrancy. That how different colors act vibrant along with each other. Okay. Followed by that, over here, what we see is that when different kinds of colors are used, but we see that all their saturations are less, that composition is not that much appealing, or it looks like it has kind of faded away. Followed by this, we have some of the other compositions from some of the famous pictures or so. I forgot the name of this actually. I couldn't tell you that, but over here, what composition do we have? What kind of color scheme is being shown? What is the color scheme being shown over here?
Monochromatic.
Monochromatic, absolutely. Okay. Over here, there is a mixed of colors. And do you know from which movie or so this picture has been taken? Yes, no? Fine. Take a screenshot of this and find out from where this composition has been taken. Okay. Let's move ahead. So over here, what's happening in this particular composition which we see? What is happening in this composition? I can tell you, but I'm asking you so that I can also know that what is your view about any of these things that you see at a glance. What do you see over here? What is happening in this composition? Yes. Quickly, quickly. We don't have much time. We need to understand that what is happening in these compositions. Sneha, Karthik.
Sir,
Yes.
There are two sides in this composition. Like before the shadow, it seems like cooler colors, and where on the other side it seems like
You're missing a
warm
very
color.
important or a very simple aspect over here. What are these arrows indicating? These particular red bands. Can you see them?
Yes.
yes,
So whenever you look at this composition and as a whole, you go through and you are asked that, okay, I'm giving you 5 minutes, go and look for each and every nooks and corners and try to remember everything. There is a huge chance that I'm telling there is a huge chance that you remember this particular thing that, okay, there were some guys located at a far distance who were wearing this particular color. Because that color is reaching to you, it's more clear, it's more evident with its background. That is how this composition has been created. But you will never remember. Neither I can also tell from this point after seeing this also what is the color of the dress that these people are wearing over here or these people over here at a very far distance, right? This is how color is being used. Reach us. Color is being used in every aspect of our life. Without color, we cannot even move a single path because without color, we cannot even justify things or which we try to understand. For example, when you are particular phone or something like that, the particular composition or the color scheme that you see over there is helping you to understand or identify that, okay, should I go for this, or it's helping you to decide. You are getting you are setting up your mind on basis of that. Now over here we have a few we have a few examples. You can go through the PDF after the class once it's shared. Saturation and value, there are some important factors about it. Don't overdo it. Use it to guide the viewer. Use it to tell the story. Use it to change the mood. Draw attention to something. So these are all what has been done in all these compositions. Last few compositions, what you see that has been shown over here. If you do overdo saturation and value, it will look more vibrant. Use it to guide the viewer. You can guide a viewer through using colors or different saturation and value. How you use it, my eyes will move in that composition for that particular object or item itself. You can tell a story. For example, over here it's very vivid. See, with the usage of color itself, you can tell the mood of in these both of these two compositions, right? Yes or no?
yes, sir.
One is happier, one is one looks sad. So you can identify the different kinds of moods also over here. Okay. Draw attention to something is what we have seen in this composition. That attention can be drawn using the help of color or saturation and value. Okay, any doubts till now? Sneha, Karthik?
No, sir. Sir, in this tertiary colors, can we make it by mixing two secondary colors or only one primary and one secondary color?
See, tertiary colors, whatever are there, these are achieved via mixing of primary and secondary colors itself. It is not always just via mixing two primary colors, because in a color composition or in a color scheme, what we see is actually, for example, this is a color wheel. Okay, so what you see over here is primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Now, how they have been achieved is via the mixation of these other colors. Okay, so for example, we have the red, yellow and blue. These are three primary colors. So over here, what we have within the red, yellow and blue, we have a gap of three colors in between or something like that, you can tell. Now, when we are trying to achieve the colors in between, we have mixed these colors among themselves. We achieve the secondary. Now again, mixing the secondary and the primary, we are achieving to the next set. So all these are kind of moving in a circle, and that's how we are achieving the tertiary colors. Now, for example, if I go back to the very first page, so over here, what we have is orange, purple, green, okay, red, blue, and yellow. Now, how is orange achieved? Red and yellow, right?
Yes.
Orange is achieved via red and yellow. Now, if you have to complete the color wheel, you cannot place like, mixing orange and purple somewhere, and you cannot place it on that color wheel in that manner. You can mix orange and yellow to form the next set of shades. And see, they are talking about the six shades that can be formed via mixing primary and secondary colors. Okay, now at some point when you are mixing secondary colors among themselves, if you are trying to do that, it will not actually lead to one of the colors, or it will just darken, or something like something else will come up. So for example, what kind of colors do we have? We have red, blue, yellow, followed by that we have orange, purple, green. Now, after this, if you want to mix colors, what can be the possible options? What do we usually talk about? We talk about reddish, like reddish orange, or reddish blue, or something like, sorry, reddish purple, reddish green. These kind of things might be you have heard about, okay, or yellowish orange. These kind of things. So this is just dependent upon, okay, what the color looks like and what is the extra amount of thing added into it. Now you definitely can try to mix purple with green, but what is the outcome do you think you will get? If you mix purple with green or purple with orange, what is the outcome you will get, do you think? Or let's assume green and orange if you mix.
Green and orange will it give purple color?
Try to mix at home and find out what it will give. What is the outcome that you get? Try to mix it at home and find out that, okay, what is the outcome I am going to get if I mix these two colors. It will be more easier for you to understand. So over here, our primary colors are this one, red. Over here we have yellow. Over here we have blue. Okay. Now there is a gap of 3 figures in between. Now first we mix these ones, we get these colors in between. So okay, let me mark out. So this is our one. Okay. I will just mark with one lines, the one which is primary, and this one. Now we have a color gap of 3 in between them. So over here we have, these are our secondary colors, which are achieved via mixing two primary colors. Okay. Now mixing via two primary colors on either sides of it. Okay. So over here we have red and or yellow. We mix them, we find out this in between. Yellow and blue, we found out green. Red and blue, this is what we get. Right? Now if we have to complete the color, just hold on a second, please. Okay, fine. So what I was discussing over here is all about that we had these kind of colors now and we need to find something in between them. Now what you are telling that what will happen if I mix this color with this color? So if you mix this color with this color, where are you going to place the other option? You cannot find out the other place or the position for that one to be placed, right? In a color wheel, things are arranged in a particular formation or a particular way that the color wheel has been derived, right? So it cannot be formed without the usage of these colors or the orientation they have been placed. Now you try to find out what will happen if you mix them and if there can be some gaps found in between them. Now see, this is one set of color wheel. Am I audible?
Yes.
This is one set. Now things can be like, definitely we can increase the number. Okay, we can increase the number of shades in between them and we can try to find out what can happen. But that will be really experimental, nothing related to what we already have in form of a color wheel or so. Okay. Okay, now we have something as monochromatic and all these things. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Okay, Karthik, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Let's do one thing. Next class will be on. Okay, so tomorrow for this week, I am keeping Wednesday as a blank. That is tomorrow. There will be no classes tomorrow. Your class will be on Thursday. Now Thursday class was supposed to be from 6. What? How it will be if I conduct the class from 5 to 7 or 5 to 7 or 7:30? Is it fine for both of you?
Yes, it's fine for me.
Karthik?
Yes, sir. No problem.
Fine, right? Okay. So I will mark it down over here. Thursday it's 5:30. Sorry, 5 o'clock to 7 or 7:30 is an extendable thing. It's 5 to 7 p.m. It's for Thursday, okay. Because today though it's already time, and the other thing is we have to complete this anyhow. So Thursday there will be a 2 hours class. Tomorrow there is no class. And Sneha, please stay back now. And that's all for this class, guys. Thanks a lot. We will continue from monochromatic and the different other kinds of color scheme available. People who are watching this class on recording, really sorry for the interruptions in between and while trying to make out for both of you as well some practical life demonstrations where you can really see that those three colors. It's actually possible to see. Just the thing is we will have to give a very, so you can try it at home. We will have to give a very minute droplet on your phone, any phone that you are using, and then use a magnifying glass. You will be able to see those three colors very clearly. Okay. It's also very much okay. Has it ever happened that you are sweating and somehow let's assume you are on a traveling from somewhere and it's not air conditioned and due to the sweat or some sort of water your hand has kind of smashed over your phone screen and you you have seen that it's kind of you cannot see the screen clearly. Has it ever happened? You would be seeing that things are kind of mixing with each other. Has that ever happened?
Yes, sir.
So that
Yes.
when it happens, you can just it's not possible. You don't need to use the magnifying glass. Also, just take some water on your three fingers. Just not water will pour from your hand. Just things will be kind of sticking, and then just rub it on your phone screen like this, and you will be able to see that the change in there will be minute draw or dot thing which will be created, and that is what is RGB color scheme. Okay. Fine, guys. That's all for today's class. People watching this class as a recording, that's all. If you have any doubts, make sure you ask us. You can connect us with the contact details that you have with yours, in the contact section as well as with you. You can write it down in the chat section. That's all for this class. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll stop the recording over here.